appreciate everyone showing up. This is Wildfire Defense Systems. I'm at Wildfire Defense Insurance Services, but we have firefighters here with us today. They're going to talk about how they operate, what they do, what all this wonderful equipment is, success stories, stories about fires, and how that all integrates. And then you could basically, if you want, purchase a policy through Wildfire Defense Insurance Services that includes this service as part of your premium.
Through Gallagher.
Through Gallagher, of course, and thank you for Gallagher for hosting this, of course. So with that, I'll turn it over to Rick Griggs and Coleman as well.
So my name is Rick Griggs. Just a little bit about my background. I started with CAL FIRE in 1988, back when we were still CDF, and then we changed our name in the early 2000s. I did 31 years. Before I retired, I spent 15 years on our incident management teams, going to every fire in the state. And then when I retired, I found an opportunity to come to work for Wildfire Defense Systems. I truly believe in what we're doing. It is the next wave in doing it. As we see our fires start to grow and get more intense over the years, as we start to push deeper and deeper into the wildland-urban interface, so we butt closer up to the hills. How many people have been in the Reno, Tahoe area for more than 15 years? Because I hear about it all the time. I moved to Carson 8 months ago, but I have Nevada plates, I have a Nevada driver's license, and I deny any knowledge of California. Yeah. So what I will tell you is we see the encroachment of it starts to grow deeper and deeper in, and what we're seeing is these fires get bigger. It's a combination of a lot of stuff. You can think about global warming however you want to think about it. We're not going to get into the politics side of that, but what we are seeing is 100 years of poor forest management, 100 years of lack of codes, and we're seeing a warming and a drying and extended fire seasons to the point where really, unless there's snow on the ground, and even when there is snow on the ground, there's a potential of fire. So what we do here for the Wildfire Defense Systems is our whole objective is to get to the fire after they start, do preparation to the homes, get them ready to withstand that. But one of the things, it's all a cooperative effort in that we rely on the homeowners to start doing work in it. We look to the builders to starting to build more fire-wise structures. We're looking at defensible space because that gives us the opportunity to do is prep the structure for the arrival of the fire front. The biggest things that will carry fire into the structures, and we call that a conflagration. We saw a great example of that down in Southern California in January. Like I said, I've been fighting fires in Southern California since 1988. Never seen something do what that did in that amount of time. The first birth of the mega fire we really talk about was in 2003 with the Cedar, the Grand Prix, and all the fires within Southern California there. We used to be thinking that a 30,000 acre fire was a big deal. Now a 30,000 acre fire is not a big deal to most of us unless it affects you. But when we start seeing 100,000 acre fires, 200,000 acres, the Dixie Fire in 2021, the Caldor Fire in 2021, and the river and the monument complex were all going on at the same time. We had almost 2 million acres of California burning at the same time, all north of Sacramento and in here. So we were seeing that. And what we saw in those fires was the speed that these fires burned at was astronomical. So that's kind of what we do. We partner with our insurance companies to provide point protection for their insured properties. So our clients are actually the insurance companies, and then we service their clients. So the front line of who these folks see in the field is this group here. We show up, we do the work, we have a whole bunch of different tactics that we can use to prep the structure. Our primary mode of operation is what we call prep and go. So we'll make sure that the structure is going to withstand the fire without any other interventions if we can. If we have to, we will stay and defend those structures, but we leave that to the fire agencies. We work in cooperation with them, but we're not assigned to the incident, so we're more at our discretion where we need to be. So our objective is work to the highest value or to the highest risk properties first, and then we move out from there that we can get to. But we try not to be in the way of the fire agencies, so we're not necessarily always right at the fire front. We're we like to be, especially in the larger fires, a day ahead of them, doing the work. We have the capability. We have a lot of different capabilities, not just the firefighting stuff. All of our personnel are fully trained firefighters. No different standards than you see from the U.S. Forest Service, Nevada Department of Forestry, Reno Fire, Truckee Meadows, any of the fire departments around here. Our people are trained to those same standards and execute our mission, which is a little bit more unique. We are able to get in advance of the fire and do stuff that these agencies can't do because they're stretched thin. So we actually fill a gap for them, and they appreciate that. We also don't take anything from the incident. We have to have exclusive permission to take their water, any water out of the hydrants. So we show up with our own. We didn't bring one today just because we're coming over from Sacramento. We have about 120 fire apparatus covering 26 states. So we cover everything west of the Rockies, Texas, down into the south, into Florida, Georgia, the Carolina, Tennessee, Nebraska, Oklahoma, and then we get up even into Wisconsin and Minnesota. So we have some there. We have about 200 firefighters, plus we're also in 3 Canadian provinces. So we have offices in Alberta, Canada. We also respond into British Columbia and have done response into Saskatchewan now. So we have got firefighters all over. One of the things that we do is 365-day a year monitoring. We have a command center. Our national coordination center is in Bozeman. It's actually our international coordination center now. I have to change the term since we're in 2 different countries, but we monitor fires all over. We utilize the cameras that are out there that are being set up here. It's Nevada Geological Services has cameras that are remote cameras that are AI sensing that scan the environment, and then they do that. We monitor those. We monitor a bunch of different websites. We monitor social media to hear what's going on, and then we also have capability of looking at through satellite infrared imaging, and then when the planes fly over, we get downloads on what those are for fire perimeters. So our advanced technology, we can see all the properties that are insured by every customer that we have in there, and we make some decisions. These guys will make decisions on where the first place they're going to go is in the most threatened, and then we work our way out. But your closest resources here are coming out of Sacramento, literally at McClellan. But what we do is we also, if there's a high risk over here this summer for 2 weeks, when we were in a higher risk of fires and we were having all the little fires pop up. I know we had one right here. We had a couple up on the north end of town, all over the place. We had the one on Sea Hill on the 4th of July. We had the other one further south in the late end of June into Mendon and Gardnerville. We had pre-positioned resources in this area, so we had a whole task force of resources stationed here that was able to be a rapid response crew. They came with 2 engines, one of our water tenders, which carries a fire retardant, the same stuff that falls out of the airplanes when they fly over. We carry in our tanks that we can apply on the ground directly to the structure, so much more surgical. We also carry a fire-resistant gel that we can put on properties that's there, and we do a whole lot of different stuff. These are our crews out of Sacramento. Everybody that we have, like I said, is a very experienced firefighter, and we do that. Colton has several years with an agency. Bernie has many years. All these guys have been around the block a few times, so we know what it is. Like I said, 31 years of going to some of the worst fires. They put out, in January this year, they put out a list of the 10 most destructive wildfires in California history, and all of them occurred during my career, and I was on 8 of them.
Wow.
So our ability to predict what's going on and understand where we're at and interface with the incident commanders that come in to these fires is big. The wildland fire community is large, but it's a small thing. There's not 6 degrees of separation. There's about 2. Usually if I can walk into base camp as a former incident commander and an incident command team, I'll know somebody who knows somebody, or I'll probably have somebody walk up to me, hey, how you been? So we have those connections already. And that's how we gain access. We gain access with permission from our incident command teams. And we've not been denied access on any fire other than for safety reasons, and as soon as they can get us in, they'll get us in. The only other reason that they often deny us is crime scene stuff. And we had some issues initially in Southern California because those were considered crime scenes with the speed that they went, and they wanted to search for bodies before anybody else got in there. So once it's already lost, there's nothing we can do but prep for it. So with that, we can take some questions. These guys are around to answer questions about the equipment. These are our fire engines. They're lightweight fire engines. They're mobile. This engine carry 400 gallons of water, gel, and capable of carrying retardant. Our water tenders carry 1,000 gallons and can carry also, we can mix retardant right into them and be able to carry 1,000 gallons of retardant that we can put on a structure. So they're happy to answer questions about the tools. Yeah.
How many 1,000 gallons, how many structures does that protect?
It depends on how thick we put it on.
Right.
And our retardant we don't necessarily put on the structures, we put it around on the vegetation around it. It depends on how thick we have to put it on and how much the vegetation is, how thick that is and how tall that is. But our objective is to keep it within that 30-foot zone and that 100-foot zone as we reduce the fuels around there. Part of what we're trying to do is some education on some of the different stuff with people, and we're working with the insurance companies to help them provide education. I know there was somebody here that is in the home partner group.
That was a question I had right there. So you said earlier that your client is the insurance company.
Correct.
Can individual homeowners contract with you? Like if you've got a whole street full of people and 2 people have signed up for your service.
We do not currently do that, do we,
Okay.
Clark? Yeah, we don't do that necessarily in the residential ward. They do. Clark's team does more commercial products. Thank you for the word. Clark's team can do commercial product, and that, but we do that. It's through the different insurance companies. There are several different companies that are smaller than what we do. We are the largest provider of this type of service. There's some other ones that have smaller chunks of the pie, but we've been in it longer than anybody, and I like to, a little proud we do it better.
Besides insurance companies, do you contract with any other vendors of any kind, or is it just insurance companies?
It's just the insurance company. So we're that's the other thing is, say some of these other contractor agencies that you hear about, the private firefighters, they may contract with the government to go in and fill resources when the government is stripped of resources. We don't do that. So we're here for the clients.
Jordan, is that something that you add on to a standard insurance policy? Is this something that would be a...
What's neat about working with Clark, who's our underwriter, is that this is included in the standard pricing.
But most of it is part of your policy in California, as here. A lot of it just depends on which agency, and it comes right into it, and there's no additional upfront, no additional cost. And even if we show up, there's no additional cost. We're not swiping a credit card to come and take your business. We don't swipe a credit card out there. That one of the things, and we're very distinguishable. If you see on the side of the truck behind you, it says insurance resource. That's actually something that's been put into the California law. We're not necessarily an emergency resource. We don't have red lights and sirens, but we still access the incident through them. So we're also not there to sell anybody insurance. That's Clark's job on the other side of it, and your job here is to sell that. And I'm the son of a independent agent he was an independent agent for over 50 years. So I've heard all the gripes of California insurance for years, and I've watched some of that evolution. So I was very lucky with that. Yes.
Can you share a little bit? You referenced that you can work directly with some of the, call it public fire stations. Like, when you were out here helping prevent, how does that work, and how do you guys prioritize versus
when
them?
we arrive with them, we have to meet to gain permission from the incident commanders of that incident. Now, it could be the local battalion chief, the local engine captain that happens to be there running this fire, or it could be an incident management team brought in from somewhere. We still meet with them. We get their radio frequencies so we can have common communications. We point out where our properties that we're going to be working on are with them. We get any safety concerns that they have, and they give us authorization to do our job while we're there. And then just one last part. And then out of that, we also will ask for permission to utilize water from the fire hydrants, or what are the restrictions, so that we can reload our trucks. These trucks carry 300 to 400 gallons of water in them. All the hose and all the tools that the regular trucks carry, they're just a little bit smaller.
Were you involved in the Palisade fire?
Yes, we were. We had about 24 resources on the Palisades fire, between the Palisades and the Eaton. Colton was actually on the Eaton fire. I was on the Palisades fire, and then I actually took over the entire area at that and worked very closely. A lot of what we do, the other thing that's great about what we're doing in our service is, after we've visited a property, we upload that almost in real time, photos, to our command center, who takes those, prepares a report, and then they'll send them back out through the insurance companies. The insurance companies actually have a portal where they can look and get information. So we're providing almost real-time information back to our clients, in turn providing it to your clients, to your customers at the end of it. So that real-time information is good, especially when you're dealing with a fire where maybe we've gotten much better in the fire world of evacuating properties over that, and we're way further in advance than we used to. We're trying not to let people have to evacuate with their hair on fire and their bumpers melting. We want to get them out quickly.
Can you tell us about any success stories you had in the Palisades fire?
Hey, before we jump right into that, I just want to touch back to the question that you asked there about working with the other agencies, local agencies. We've been doing this for so long, like Rick had alluded to. We started back to this in 2006, and we've kind of gained such a relationship, whether it be in Nevada, whether it be in California, Oregon, Washington, wherever it may be, that they know who we are when we show up. So we have what we kind of call somebody as a liaison, or an insurance resource commander that is tied back to that team, or that IC, that incident, that is working directly with them, and we're passing along our tactics to them the entire time. We're filled in on their tactics, so we're working together. So as they're progressing out or redacting in, so then they're maybe starting to lift evacuations, we're in communication with them the entire time. So then we're able to start getting that information back, like Rick said, in that real time, to start getting that information out to the homeowners, to start getting that information out to you who are very concerned about what may be happening, or what's coming, or what the next 4 days may look like. We're working really close with them to start getting that information out, and we just built such a relationship with them that they're very receptive to have us there and wanting to have those conversations. So just kind of wanted to tag that
So,
onto that.
Colton, I got a question in regard. It's more mechanical than it's actually a live situation. But you mentioned that you like to be there the day before, and so when you're saying that,
in a larger fire,
Yeah.
in some of the ends, we're there hours before.
Yeah.
So we're prepping. When we're right on the edge of the fire line, the agencies are right there. The public agencies are getting in there. So we may be, let's say we're looking at the fire coming down off the hill. They may be on the first block of the interface. We may be 2 blocks back doing our job, out of their way, because they've got, that's their, and they have heavier duty apparatus that has the capability of pumping much more water, and they're doing that stuff. And we don't want to be in their way for that, but we will get prepped up there. As you were talking about when we talked about the old fire, the Grand Prix fire in 2003 down in your old neck of the woods with the Panorama, we'd never seen fires go blocks. The first time I saw a substantial fire was in Santa Rosa, or first big urban conflagration was Santa Rosa.
Yeah.
I saw it in 2003 on the Cedar Fire, but when we look at it, you asked a question about the Palisades. Palisades was a very unique fire in that the way it started, that area, with the winds and everything like that, there's all kinds of controversy about how it started and who started it. They do have the arsonist under arrest, and that's a good thing. But the biggest thing was, when you're looking at a wind-driven fire, you never hear anybody in Florida or in the South talking about stopping a hurricane. we're talking about the same forces, except for they're on fire. Instead of rain going sideways, we were looking at softball-sized embers, burning embers, going at 100 miles an hour. So imagine the best picture you can think of, throwing a flaming baseball at your window. So that was unique. We did have success though in getting in there and doing it. We had a school that was in the middle of the burn that was impacted within the first few hours of that fire, that we were able to, the most loss that school had, they lost no structures other than a gardener's shed. They had some damage to a sport court that was a rubber coated sport court. There were no structural damage, and our crews were able to get in there and remove the combustibles from around the buildings to keep them there. They were able to seal up some vents. They were able to do what they could do to get out of the way, and then they let the agencies do the fight.
Are you full time? Are all these